stop doing these 5 things. Do this for fuller volume instead. If your hair keeps falling flat after 60, the problem may not be your hair. It may be the way you are styling it. Because several habits that seem harmless can actually make fine hair look thinner, expose more scalp, flatten the crown, and leave the ends looking weak. And the frustrating part is that many women respond by adding more product, more heat, or more teasing, which can make the problem even worse. Today, I'm showing you 5 common styling mistakes women with fine hair often make after 60, and exactly what to do instead if you want your hair to look fuller, softer, and more polished. And stay with me until number 2, because that mistake can make even a good haircut look flat within minutes. Let's start with the one I see most often. Mistake number 5, using too much product. When hair starts to feel finer, it is tempting to add more. More mousse, more oil, more smoothing cream, more hairspray. But fine hair has one major weakness. It gets weighed down very quickly. A product that works beautifully on thick hair can make fine hair collapse. The roots become heavy, the strands stick together, and instead of seeing more volume, you actually see more scalp. This is especially common with oils and heavy leave-in products. A small amount may make the ends look healthy, but too much near the roots can flatten everything. The better approach is simple. Use the lightest product that can do the job. For volume, apply a small amount of lightweight mousse or root-lifting spray only where you need support. Usually that means the crown and front, not the entire head. For the ends, use only a tiny amount of cream or serum, and keep it away from the scalp. Think of products like seasoning. You can always add more. But once you add too much, it is difficult to take it back. One of the easiest tests is this. If your hair looks fuller before you apply products than after, you are probably using too much. # mistake number 4, brushing fine hair flat while drying. This one sounds small, but it changes everything. Many women blow dry their hair exactly the same way they have for years. They point the dryer downward, they smooth everything from the roots to the ends, and they brush the hair close to the scalp. That creates shine, but it can also destroy volume. If the roots dry flat against your head, they usually stay flat. Instead, you want to create lift while the roots are still warm and flexible. One easy method is to dry your hair in the opposite direction from where it naturally falls. If your part is on the right, push some of the hair toward the left while drying the roots. Then let it fall back into place. You can also lift small sections at the crown with your fingers or a vented brush while directing warm air underneath. You do not need dramatic teasing. You just need to prevent the roots from drying completely flat. And remember this. Volume begins at the root. If the root has no lift, curling the ends will not fix the shape. # mistake number 3, curling every section the same way. This is a very common styling habit. You take a curling iron or round brush and create the same curl over and over again. Same size, same direction, same bend. The result can look polished, but on fine hair, it can also look smaller and more controlled than you want. When every strand sits neatly together, the hair loses visual separation. And separation is what can make fine hair appear fuller. Instead, create variation. Some pieces can bend away from the face. Some can remain straighter. Some can have a soft wave through the middle. You do not need perfect curls. You need movement. Try leaving the ends of some sections slightly straighter. That prevents the hairstyle from turning into one compact shape. If you use a curling iron, take slightly different section sizes instead of making every section identical. This creates natural irregularity, and natural irregularity makes the hair look more alive. The goal is not to make every strand perfect. The goal is to create space between the strands. That space makes the overall hairstyle appear fuller. Now, the next 2 mistakes are the ones I would pay the most attention to. Because they can make fine hair look dramatically thinner, even when your haircut is good. And number one is something many women have been told to do specifically because they have fine hair. Mistake number two, putting volume in the wrong place. This is one of the biggest styling mistakes. Women want fuller hair, so they create volume everywhere. At the sides, around the ears, near the lower cheek, at the ends. But volume is not automatically flattering. Where you place it matters. For most fine hairstyles, too much width at the sides can make the crown look even flatter by comparison. Imagine a triangle. Wide at the bottom, narrow at the top. That is exactly the silhouette you usually want to avoid. The better shape is often the opposite. A little lift near the crown, controlled sides, enough fullness through the ends to keep the hair healthy looking. This creates balance. If you have a bob, lob, or pixie, pay attention to the widest point of your hairstyle. If it sits directly beside the cheeks while the top is flat, try moving some of that volume upward. You can do that by drying the crown with lift and keeping the sides smoother. Even a small difference can change the whole appearance of the haircut. This is also why some women think their hair has become much thinner when the real problem is simply the shape. The hair may not need more volume. The volume may just be in the wrong place. Mistake number one, overlayering fine hair. This is probably the most important mistake on the list. Fine hair often gets layered because people believe layers automatically create volume. Sometimes they do, but too many layers can remove the density that fine hair desperately needs. Every time you create another layer, you remove some hair from the lower part of the shape. If you keep going, the ends become transparent, the perimeter becomes weak, and the hair may actually look thinner than before. That is why many women with fine hair leave the salon confused. They asked for volume, but somehow they have less hair at the ends. The solution is not to avoid layers completely. It is to use them strategically. A few shorter sections near the crown can help create lift. Soft face-framing pieces can add movement, but the outside edge should often remain relatively full, especially with bobs and lobs. A stronger perimeter creates the visual impression of density. Ask your stylist, "I want movement, but I don't want to lose fullness through the ends." That one sentence can make a huge difference. If your hair is already very fine, ask whether you actually need layers at all. Sometimes a cleaner, more solid shape will look much fuller than a heavily layered one. # the simple, fuller hair routine. So what should you do instead? Here's a simple routine that works well for many women with fine hair. Start with damp hair. Use a lightweight volumizing product only at the roots. Do not coat the entire head. Then begin drying the crown while lifting the roots away from the scalp. Use your fingers first. You do not need a complicated brush immediately. Once the roots are mostly dry, shape the middle lengths and ends. If you use a round brush, keep the movement soft. Do not curl every piece under. Let some pieces move slightly outward or remain straighter. That prevents the haircut from becoming too round. When you finish, allow the hair to cool before touching it too much. Warm hair can collapse quickly if you keep brushing it. Then, use your fingertips to gently separate a few sections. This creates texture without destroying the volume. If you need hairspray, spray lightly from a little distance. Do not soak the roots. You are trying to support the shape, not freeze it. What about thinning at the crown? If the crown is where your hair looks finest, the instinct is often to tease it aggressively. But teasing can create a temporary bump while making the hair look rough or tangled. Instead, start with root direction. Dry the crown upward and slightly forward. Then let it fall back naturally. You can also change your part slightly. Even moving the part ½ an inch can expose hair that has not been lying flat in the same direction for years. This can create surprisingly noticeable lift. A soft zigzag part can also break up a visible scalp line. The key is subtlety. You do not need a dramatic new part. You just want to stop every strand from lying in exactly the same direction. What about gray fine hair? Gray hair can actually work beautifully with volume. Silver and white strands reflect light differently, so texture can become more visible. The challenge is that gray hair can sometimes feel drier. That means you need moisture, but not heaviness. Choose lightweight moisture. A light leave-in conditioner on the ends can help. Avoid thick oils near the roots, and if you use heat, protect the hair. Fine gray hair can become dry and brittle more quickly when it is repeatedly overheated. You want volume, but you also want softness and movement. 3 questions to ask your stylist before your next haircut. Ask these 3 questions. First, where are you creating volume? If the answer is everywhere, that may not be the best plan. Second, how are you keeping the ends full? This is especially important if your hair is fine. Third, will this still look good if I only spend 5 minutes styling it? A good haircut should support your real routine. It should not require professional-level styling every morning. Final payoff. Fine hair after 60 does not need to look flat, and it does not need 10 different products. The biggest improvements usually come from a few simple changes. Use less product. Lift the roots while drying. Create varied movement instead of identical curls. Put volume in the right place. And protect the fullness in your ends. The goal is not to force your hair to behave like thick hair. It is to make the most of the hair you actually have. Because fine hair can still look soft, elegant, healthy, and full of movement. You just need the right shape and the right technique. Which mistake do you think you may be making right now? Too much product? Drying your roots flat? Curling everything the same way? Putting volume in the wrong place? Or asking for too many layers? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe for more practical hairstyle and beauty advice for women over 60. Because next time, we'll cover the 5 haircut shapes that make fine hair look thinner, and what to ask for instead.